What's good with the YouTube, man? This is your boy, Big Flacco, man. Convicts Perspective, and I got a special guest today, man. I got Toko, man. And we're going to smash, dash, and slide on through with a little bit of energy, man. And we're going to have an interesting topic, man. Me and Toko, we're talking, man. We're going to talk about the after effects of Operation Black Widow in San Jose. We're not going to talk about all the other areas, Salinas or East Bay or Tulare County. I mean, we know a little bit about stuff that was happening, but we're going to primarily talk about San Jose, man. Hey, how was it going, Toko?
It's going good, bro. Just took a little road trip, man. Was checking in, and
most definitely.
feel like call everybody, man. It looks like the whole ACP regiment's on vacation, but good old faithful Flock was still in the Southwest, so it's about 100 degrees right now, and I'm fucking driving, watching the sunset.
That's right.
I figured we'd do this little collect call here from United States non-penitentiary, the United States Freeway.
So what's up with it, though, man? Let's talk about this, man. What do you remember about Operation Black Widow as soon as it hit, bro?
Oh, man. Well, gotta take it back a couple years earlier, right? So I just was indoctrinated, in November 7th. I'll never forget that date. November 7th was my fucking birth date into the Nuestra Raza in 1995. And the next big thing that happened was, 497 directive about dismantlement, but we still were acknowledged and we still kept our status. Then when I came home in 2000 is when all the grumbling started to happen. It was a bad time to parole, and I just done 7 years. That was my first term. And then they were talking about there could be some possible raids, and there was grumblings about things, and that there was some big stuff that was getting ready to go down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't come home until 2001, man, and I mixed it all by I think about 2 months.
Yeah.
I came out, and everything had ceased. You know what I mean? It was hard. It was hard to communicate. The channels were all messed up, man. I had to stay in touch with who I had to stay in touch with, but I was also told not to put myself out there, right? Not to start going.
Not to start
right
Not to start going where?
Not to start putting myself out there and reaching out to certain individuals because there were question marks.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people were put on freeze off top, bro, right when the indictment happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see.
All that is serious, man. Behind.
Because I think I remember we were specifically looking for you, bro.
Yeah, you and I don't want to mention his name, but I know he was a homeboy from Santa Clara County, Mountain View.
Yep.
I was told by who was hooking me up to this was going to happen. Okay, here, which reminds me of the situation with Sardino, right?
Yeah.
So he got wrapped up in all that. I didn't know anything about Dark Room Familia or none of this homeboy rap, because you got to remember, man, I got cracked in the early 90s, and I was gone for 7.5 straight. All that stuff that got popular when I was behind the walls. And so that was the other thing that I was told, too, was that, hey, Toko, if you decide to go do this, and you decide to participate on the Calles, be aware that this is the main focus right now is they want to get a hold of this dude Sardino, aka David Rocha, was his real name. I found out all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that was the main thing that was going around. Now, I functioned in the San Jose Regiment at that time, and that was our directives. That was the main directive, and to get a hold of you and this other individual, and then I would be privy to all that.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting caught up with another NR member, and he had a busted taillight and an unloaded weapon in the back of his trunk. So I was just about to get your contact information and somebody else, and so you were going to reach out to Black Steve, God rest his soul, right?
Yeah.
Because that was the middleman, and we both knew him.
Yes.
You know, and I said, hey man, we'll get a hold of Steve. You know.
That's where everything was. That's where everything was coming out, man. Was because he was up there. Because when all the indictments happened, bro, right? These dudes were working with the Carnales out in the streets, but they were homeboys, bro, active homeboys. There was another individual too, right? So they would go up there and visit, bro, and that's how the directives came out. Just at that time, just during those years, 2001, like that. Like I said, who were the other individuals you heard that we were supposed to locate?
There was another rapper at the time, which later on I guess I found out that it was Woody. But that was, you know, that really, I didn't hear too much about that, but he was the only other big name that I remember. You know, and I think there was a couple others that were reaching out that were from San Jose.
Low Down, and all that, yeah.
Low Down, Never. You know, a few of these other cats, and then the other homeboy from I had met him one other time, man, when I was out. That's when I first met.
Well, I'm here, brother.
And that's pretty much, you know, that's all I knew about those, you know, the influence as to why they wanted to get a hold of him. Once it was all broken down to me and explained to me, because like I said, I had to get put up to speed with all this rap stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, quiet as kept, man, you remember, depending upon who you knew or who your contacts were, right? And you knew, you know, like I said, man, I was more down from Soho, and a lot of people get it misconstrued, man, but I always have love for that city, man. That's where I came out of, and that's what I represented.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I got into the Nuestra Raza. It's not that I'm some type of fucking switch hitter. A lot of people think I'm from the Valley or I'm from Monterey County because I talk about it so much. But you got to understand, man, those vatos right there, man, when they're in diapers, they're bred into this shit.
Oh, I know,
you know
bro.
What I mean?
Hey.
So the homies from Watsonville, man, I was trying to get out to that regiment because I wanted to be out there with the hitters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to understand, that's nothing against, I'm not trying to say I'm a Billy Badass or that, but you got to understand, the thinking when you're active, you got to take it back 20 years to where my mind was. I was all the way with the movement. You know what I mean? And I probably would have, if it would have got okayed, then we probably all would have never met, and I probably would have got indicted out there with those dudes, man, because that's what I was trying to get out to, because that's where most of my homies were, you know. And then that's when I heard about Troubles from Salas, and was a good mentor of mine too, you know, when he died, you know, and left behind all his kids and his family, man. That broke my heart, man. And
yeah.
It was just a big vacuum effect, Flacco. You know what I mean?
I experienced it, bro. I was there I was there after, bro, and I think people don't realize that there were so many components at that time. I mean, you know, eventually Salinas became basically, you know, a stronghold network with Boxer out there, right? But this is before even I think he was out. You know what I mean? And see, the whole focus at that time is that we were out there, we were generating money, and at the same time, we were able to go up there and have people visit, bro. And so we became like an instant hub of communication just briefly. Let me quote that, briefly. So the whole thing, right. Because they were giving us certain names that they wanted us to find so they could be plugged in directly with them and not have to go to their channels in the Bay. That's exactly what happened. That's 100%. And then once a couple C's got in contact out there, like in Salinas and so forth, we were our job was done. You know what I'm saying? We had to step on back and just play our position, bro. But when shit first happened, bro, we had 2 people that were going up there visiting every week, bro. Like twice a week. You know what I'm saying? And it was pretty simple because they would just put the fucking writing on the window and they just read the directives. And that was it. So right. Black Steve was like you know what I mean, one of the main ones at the time. Gato was also another one. And that had a lot to do with the rap influence that we had because of him. That's why a lot of the rappers, they wanted us to focus on that as well. You know what I'm saying? That's why we had Tokstero working with us. We had Tiny Lokes. I mean, I've been out there. We had a whole different network, but things started to slowly fall apart a little bit. You know what I mean? I got locked up. Teams got separated. You know what I mean? But we're just talking about the early effect. I mean, I remember going out, me and another brother, right, and sometimes another one, collecting debts every day that were owed, bro. I mean, I'd work a 9 to 5 at the time, and afterwards, and then even me and Black Steve would go and we would locate that dudes that we knew that were NR members, asking them if they wanted to function. You don't know how many people we ran into that didn't want to function, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we were trying.
That's when, like I said, that's when my name popped up. Is that
yours and JR's? Yours and JR's came up, bro.
Yeah, and that's why I was surprised, and that's when it got broken down to me that, I mean, 2 + 2 = 4. It was never told to me that a lot of people were stepping away, but like I said, if it wasn't for a couple, thank God, man. You know what I mean? The channels back then. And the Garnalismo was good, because can you imagine, man, if nobody would have told me nothing, I paroled 2 months after everybody got wiped up, and I would have been a sitting duck out there, not knowing who's who, what was what, right? And I could have been in a situation like a couple other homies from Horseshoe were.
Oh, like Jack, you talking about Jack and all that? They were with, yeah, we had to get it. They can't. I remember. He came. I met up with Jack at Stuff Pizza and Mopitas. He came with another homeboy, and I had to get him because he was running around with Chongo. And I guess Lencho cleared him on it, so that was enough that all I had to hear. But I had to let him know, like, this is what time it was. There was so much chaos and confusion, man. That's like, unless you were there and you understand what was going on, you can't speak on it. It's kind of hard to know exactly what was going on, because there was like so many different directives, man, and some of us got hemmed up, caught cases eventually. I mean, some got indicted later on, and it was chaotic, bro. I mean, it was an experience, though, bro. I learned a lot, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I
did too, man.
And I'll tell you like this, bro, because I had a small little crew at that time, and I learned from making a lot of mistakes, bro. Not knowing exactly. I knew how to push dope, but I did not know how to run a fucking. I thought a well-oiled machine could be ran out there on the streets, but it doesn't always operate that way. You know what I'm saying? But it served as a learning experience. You know what I mean? There was other issues. One old dude went MIA that was going up channeling for us, bro. He was going up to visit Goose, and then coming back, and then he dispersed to Texas because he was scared because Chico flipped and Goose flipped at the same time. And
that's what scared me, because Chico was in Saho at the time.
I know he was staying off Topeka, right off San Carlos, bro. Back then. I used to go. Hey, bro, I used to go to
San Carlos.
That's where I met. Yeah, that's where I met everybody. Right. I'd be at his house, bro. Like one time, right, and he showed me the FBI card. He said, "Man, they just came to my house. He said that there's more indictments coming. Whoa, whoa, whoa." And he's all spooked and shit, man. I'm like, dude, I gotta get the fuck out of here, bro. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, me and Chico used to run amok out there, bro, for a minute. And then I met a lot of brothers that way that were like plugged in with different crews. And what happened is the after effect, we were all out there, so we knew who to get a hold of. And like people don't give like Black Steve enough credit out there at that time. He did a lot for the gente, bro. He's the one that he's the one that was getting all the directives a lot of times and was coming out with him. He was going up to visit, and he was coming back out with him sometimes. And he's the one that even located Dino. You know what I'm saying? Because I got the call right after right after he goes, man, I was looking for him for 2 days. He goes, I located him. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of those messages were being passed to him coming from Brass at the time. So anything he came out with, it couldn't be questioned because it was coming straight from Skip. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who he was visiting. I
remember that. That was a big. For those that don't understand, as those of us that were active back then at that time, all the big homies, they're all locked down in the feds. And here's Dino, he's out on bail on an NF indictment. So right away, right, the rumors and all that stuff starting, he's got to be telling, right?
Yeah.
Common sense. That's whatever. But I remember certain homies were just like, got to find him and see where his head's at. And that's what the
I mean that says a lot. If we're in San Jose and we had to go all the way to Tracy Modesto to locate him, that tells you how much expectations were put upon us at that time, man. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like I said, eventually, when a couple of the big homies from Salas, or or were out there in Salinas, things changed. But this was the early months, man, and it was fucking crazy, bro. You know what I mean? I was like told like this is how much money they want per month, and I was like, what the? I was like, damn. You know what I mean? You know, it was crazy times, brother. You know what I mean? I don't think people understand that. You know, we were basically just like basically running their errands, bro. That's it. Under their authority, go do this. So we had to go do it. Period. You know what I'm saying? There were certain things that happened out there where certain homeboys from certain hoods owed money they had to get taken off on and whatnot, bro. And it bugged me because a lot of these dudes I personally knew and I was cool with, and they were riders too, right? Like, I mean, not riders like that, but they were like with that action. And I'd have to bring some homeboys from different areas, and we'd go over there, and next thing you know, they get taken off on, and that was a warning. And you know how that's taken. No matter what, a lot of times people take that personal. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we're going over to the hoods in San Jose. You know what I'm saying? And we're having to have little discussions about who owes money and whatnot. And you know what I'm saying? They didn't like it because we weren't even from San Jose doing this. You know what I mean? We're from the surrounding cities and stuff, right? You know?
Right, but a lot of people, Flacco, you understand this, I understand this. It becomes about the greater good, right?
The greater good, bro.
It becomes about what you obligated yourself to. Now, many times, like I said, I don't get into all these war stories, man, because there's enough of us out there on YouTube that, you know, if you talk about kicking down doors and being Superman and, you know, and knocking out 32 dudes. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, anytime I had to do any of that stuff, which I like doing because to me, it gave me a front row seat. These dudes that I used to think were hitters, that I think were stand-up dudes, their name is on the list. Hey, Toko, you go over here with so-and-so, man, and make sure you get that. I never showed any emotion. But in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck? How the hell is this dude owe money? I thought this dude was solid. And then you hear how they try to backpedal. Yeah. And they try to get offended. Well, hey, homie, you're from... All of a sudden, it becomes about what city you're from now. All of a sudden, it becomes about hoods and this and that. And it's like, hey, man, you know, and I'd have to tell a couple dudes, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to get into the end result of it, man, but the bottom line was, before anything was done, I let them know, hey, you obligated yourself. You put yourself in this situation. That's why we're here. Plain and simple.
Yeah, exactly.
This ain't personal. This is business. And you're making it personal because you can't take care of business.
Yeah.
And then they would just get quiet, you know, and then the end result was what the end result was.
You know what, Toko, though? The fucked up thing about it, right, is you could be out there doing so much big shit or involved in it, right, and go get locked up and come out and you're already replaced. Just like that, man. You know what I mean?
Just like that.
Just like that, man.
I mean,
you know what?
I mean, you know, when I got that violation before I was supposed to meet up with you and before we got in contact, I remember the report I had to write, and I mean, it was cleared. It was cleared within hours, but that's because of the vacuum effect. What was left behind in the county jail, and who was left in the authority. You know, it was all based on your reputation, and you knew it at that time when I got busted. Late 2001.
They had DB was hidden in the back. He couldn't even communicate, but he was there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was trying to go by different. He was trying to go by different code names like Azteca and all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's another. You know, we need to do a spill on that, man. All the code.
Yeah, bro, the codes were off the hook, bro. They're changing codes, man.
Oh yeah, you had to keep up on that, man. I remember a lot of young homies that were striving were just like, fuck, bro, this is fucking almost like college.
I'm gonna say this, right, for the listeners out there, right? I wasn't at that time. We were doing so much stuff for the O, right, that it became frustrating for me and the other brother, right, because we're collecting money, we're doing whatever's asked, right, and we're not making a fucking penny off this, and it's fucking like we're like, I'm working a 9 to 5, and afterwards we're headhunting. You know what I'm saying? And then whenever there's an issue, they would get at me and Homeboy would be the ones that have to go take care of it or go talk to someone or something like that. Like when Panamas and Mas Locos were going at it, man, we had to go over there and meet up at TGI Fridays, man. You know, luckily I knew Shorte, and I remember we had Philo in the car from Mas Locos, and he was like, "Bro, we got you. We're not tripping. No one's gonna do nothing and stuff." And the other homeboy did most of the talking, man. But You know, it was kind of cool just to see how things could be. You know, when you're starting to do things and you can see the results of your actions out there of the greater good, it feels good out there in the streets, man. Like we actually felt like we were making an impact, bro, at one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but I mean,
you know what? You weren't the only one. I mean, just what you said though, Flacco, backtracking to where, you know, all these collections and all these contacts you're making, it was all getting kicked back up to the top, which, you know, a lot of people didn't know about, and they figured out during that time period. That's when I started to see an influx. When I talk about an influx of people defecting, not answering their phones, or just dropping out of sight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think the first one was. I think the first one I seen was what was that? Ruben Garcia was the first one that all of a sudden flipped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Smiley. Just different people, just they didn't want to report, bro. Like, and it was funny because these were dudes, like, when I first go to the county jail, they were old school NR members, bro. But when they paroled, they weren't doing shit no more. They just wanted to stay away. You know what I'm saying?
You know, looking back on it now, they had the right idea.
Man, they had the right idea, bro. That's why.
They knew, you know, so.
Well, see, I know the whole thing with me, right, is they needed someone for the streets. You know what I'm saying? That was coming out of Corcoran. You know what I'm saying? Because I at that time, I think I fell under GOP at that time. Under the GOP is what I was told. So we were basically working for Zarowski's crew. You know what I mean? Wino's crew and stuff. You know what I mean? So that was the whole purpose. When they did all my indoctrination, it was all basically on street concepts. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the Carlitos and stuff took a hands-on approach, which was cool because he wasn't doing that because he was a regiment commander, bro. But I was fortunate to get a lot of other schooling from him too because of that, bro. Because they wanted to send someone out there that was going to represent them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I ended up seeing Wino out there, bro. Zarowski. You know what I mean? That shit was a fucking trick, bro. Hey.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Hey, he came through, bro, and he came through. He was staying in Modesto, right? He had a hairnet on, right? I was like, what the hell? Because he looks like a straight wood kind of, you know what I mean? And he comes to my house, bro, and he's talking, bro, and here comes Black Steve and the other homeboy, right? And he tells him, hey, we'll plug you in, you know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, I'm already plugged in, homie. And I told him, I go, he asked where's Ashley? And so I said, word back, where's Ashley? I got a fucking reprimand so fucking hard, bro. You know what I mean? Ashley's the motherfucking man. Whoa. I'm like, oh shit. So I told him, he goes, oh shit. So he told me to tell, to write the brother Carlitos, because I used to channel all my stuff through Carlitos at that time, right? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people didn't know that. So I sent word to him that the code word was fucking Rachel. Rachel was Ashley, that he was no longer in good standings. They were like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so Wino comes through. And he hooks me up with powder because a lot of seats were reporting to him. So he was supposed to have a high ranking position because he was up there, bro. You know what I'm saying? He was ANF leader. People don't realize that he filled one of those slots, bro. And so that's when he first came at me like, look, I'm gonna pull you and woo is this and that. And he goes, you know, I go, yeah, I got some work, bro. So I drop him about 2 pounds, right? Yeah. Bro, I see a little bit of money from his brother, and then next thing you know, he just disappeared, bro. And I get a call from his brother or something. He goes, something about the X-Files. And I'm like, what the fuck, X-Files? And next thing you know, I heard that he was out there in Modesto, and he was just doing way too much. He got a couple dudes crossed up, you know what I mean? Like Chino and Ching Ching and all them from Modesto because they were functioning under him, bro. But all they were doing was following directives. So from that point, I was dealing with fucking homeboy Powder for a minute, bro. I was going out there dropping him work. So I had my hands in everything at that time. It was it was off the hook, bro. On top of that, I was helping out one of the homeboys that was on the run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was that. You know, a lot of people don't. I'm sure people, you know, they're listening if they're around at that time. You know, then they know. But I don't. You know, there's a lot of dudes that I talked to. You know, recently or within the last couple of years that talked and, you know, they bring up the memories from that Black Widow thing, man. And that was a scary time. It was a weird time. And it was the most, I mean, you've seen leadership and directives change, man. Like, you didn't know you didn't know what was going on. You just had to hope and pray that whoever you were getting at wasn't going to get snatched up or wasn't going to flip at that time or whatever, man. And it was all about self-preservation at the same time, trying to be a stand-up dude and carry through if you were functioning. You know what I mean? And it was a blessing, man.
I'll give Chico this, right? Chico told the homeboy. I took the homeboy from Salas out there to go visit him, right? The homeboy from Salas came out and he said, "Man, he told you that you've done enough, bro." He goes, he said, "Just go on with your family life." He goes, "Don't even trip off this, man." I said, "Nah, I'm in this, bro." And I should have took Chico's advice. And the reason why he was telling me that was because he was flipping, bro. He was telling. You know what I'm saying? So so I got on Chico's helmet, right? And Chico was still being acknowledged as being in good standings in there. So finally I asked him, I go, where am I supposed to plug in out here? Because all this shit was going on, man. Fucking stuff in Corcoran, stuff out here, and I just did not know. You gotta remember, I'm a young fucking kid, bro. So I don't know like what's really going on. Later on I started being able to put the pieces of the puzzle, what was going on, right? But at that time it was fucking chaotic, bro. I wouldn't wish that much stress on anybody because it became part of your life. Functioning at that time, it was like a secondary life away from your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody's out pushing for the same agenda. Let's keep it 100. At first we may be all about the cause, struggle, and all that when we're committing ourselves, right? But at the same time, bro, we like the recognition given to us by having status, bro. If anybody says that they did, they're full of shit.
If anybody says, man, it wasn't about ego, you had to have an ego just to get acknowledged by these dudes, just to get the bonds. Your ego had to get you into a place, man, where somebody recognized that you were a fool or you were with the business or the way you conducted and you carried yourself. You know what I mean? You had to have some type of moxie about you, man. And a lot of people don't. They and I don't know. You know what I mean? Current events. I'm not going to speak on that. It's just different. What I heard about the recruiting process and being an end soul and all that, man. Not to take anything away from those dudes, man. Hey. More power
I heard in the feds that they took that away. They abolished it when Corny came out, and that they gave you the option either to function as Norteño or C in the feds.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So someone I know that's up in the feds told me about that, and I was like, damn. I was like, man, I'll see you in 2048 when you get out, bro. That's a long time,
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, man, and these are the things. Now, the positive message in all this is look at everything that you were taught. Look at everything that we were taught, everything that we were supposed to do. You know what I mean? And all it took was a little bit of twisting of the rules. And to participate, I didn't start to see the treachery, man, until I got involved with the regiment a few times. You know what I mean?
Bro,
when I got my nose dirty, I seen the jealousy, the envy, the people jockeying for position, the grumblings behind everybody. The fucking carnalismo was starting to die.
Man,
I wasn't, and I'll be honest, man. When I told JoJo this, I told Boo Boo. Last time I talked to these guys during Gunner's fight, I told them, because they never say, hey, man, I wasn't funny style, but they just said, man, you really got in and you got out. Anytime we had to do something, man, you didn't kick it afterwards, and that's when I finally said it. All these years later that I defected away, right? I said, because I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable with those with those homies.
Yeah.
I said all the internal shit, and nobody from Saho that was functioning at that time can deny it. You can hear the passion in my voice. There was so much bullshit internally. The Saho was so big, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a good look. It wasn't what I was about.
It was a different time here. I don't think people realize how stressful it was, man, and that's why when you see people like that, never from the sidelines, you can't speak on what's going on through the streets unless you were there involved in the mix. I don't care if you talk to someone; it's not the same as far as being actually a part of it. and you'll see the treachery, you'll see the secret missives and the codes and stuff, and certain directives that you're being given that you wouldn't expect to be given. You're like, what the hell? Are they really serious about this? Like, okay, this dude got to go. You know what I mean? Okay,
And don't get me wrong when I'm saying this. This is all stuff I internalized because I had to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I see dudes go against the grain and open their mouth over a bowl of soup and a can of beer at the bar, man, and they'd end up getting deemed and rat packed. You know what I mean?
For speaking, yeah, exactly.
I did a lot of stuff, man, with a heavy heart, and I'm just being straight up and transparent. There was a lot of things that I did and participated in that I didn't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, like part of my indoctrination.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing that I remembered, man, was that it was about Flacco, it was about fucking Black Steve, whatever. If I didn't agree with it, we're all there. We'd look at each other, fuck it, let's go. And on the car ride, it'd be silence. But you had to do what you had to do because it was the cost of the business. And I understood that. That part I signed up for, but no one tells you how to deal with those emotions and those feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest thing next to getting pussy. Those words always rang true because you separated the men from the boys or the bros from the hoes. It's like we used to fucking say. You know what I mean? And I took being a mono seriously.
Yeah.
To the point where people would fucking make fun and they'd fucking feel my wrath afterwards because, I believed in it, bro. Everything that was worded,
bro.
Given to me, all the writings, all the schooling, all the getting everything stamped at, you felt like a champion. And there was no other feeling like it. When you felt less than your whole life and out of place, and you're just a norteño on the street, and you get cracked, and you keep your mouth shut, and you do whatever, man, and you get around the right guys, excuse me, not the wrong ones, but the right ones, and the way it was when I got the paperwork and the bonds.
Yeah.
Supposed to do, man, I was like a sponge. And it was like a
Christmas soak it up, huh? Soak in the good, squeeze out the bad. That's how you got to do it, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And for a long time, bro, it's just, and another big question, a lot of people hit me up and ask, hey, how come I didn't strive to become more? It's not that I didn't strive to become more. It's that I was never in a position with anybody long enough who had any status to slide up next to him, because let's face it, Flacco, in order to become a seed from the few seeds that I did know, is because they knew somebody and they caught somebody's attention, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Their name was around and they were asked. You don't ask.
Yeah, that's then people don't realize that time era was so different that there was people being recruited, some statuses were being acknowledged, some statuses were being revoked. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of us got put in position being pulled at that time, bro, and some of us were told to go out there and function that season, and you know what I mean? Whether valid or not, it didn't matter. Whether valid or not, we was out there operating in the same capacity, because when you function in a regiment, you have the same status and rank. People don't realize that. You're functioning under the NF bandana. So for me, I just fell and filed whatever was expected, man. Anyways, we're at like 35 minutes. This thing's about to cut off, brother. Hey, thanks for coming on. I think this was a good topic, man. I really do, man. This is something that had to be discussed because we haven't talked about the fallout of how it affected San Jose, and it really did. You know what it did. I'm gonna leave this with a final thought. It put a lot of us that were inexperienced, right, and not even yet fully competent in positions out there to learn. That's what happened, bro. We learned, we were successful, and we made some mistakes too. But eventually, that helped me out later on, like in the mid 2000s when I was really out there pushing a hard line, bro. Anyways, much love to Toko. You got anything else to say to the people before I close this?
Just to everybody out there that were, you didn't participate in that, man. Consider yourself lucky, man, because it was a stressful time. You know what I mean? And loyalties were tested, and there was no work. That was probably the worst time in my career as an NR member. Going through that aftermath and that vacuum effect when people were just getting shipped off to the feds, and whatever was left over was left over. Not to say anything against those brothers, but it was hard because they got left with a pile of shit and they had to sift through it.
Exactly, bro. And you know what, Toko? Go ahead, continue. I got something to add to that. Go ahead.
And they got left with a pile of shit to deal with, man. So, Chuco, Conejo, and Dragon, and everybody else that would Kramer, all these guys that were left behind, you know what I mean? That's what they inherited, right?
Yeah.
They inherited, and they had to jockey for position and stuff like that, and then whatever, then the situation turned, and it got ugly a few years after that. But by that time, by 2014, man, that was, we all know my story. That was all she wrote for me, and that's when it was time to go on to greener pastures, man. You know what I mean? It's nothing like being put in a situation. You're taking care of business,
see,
and the rules don't apply, and people twist up the rules against you. But hey, like I said, it is what it is. It was a blessing in disguise, and the one thing that I take away from all this, man, is that those of us that survived that learned a big lesson.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I mean? I learned where my heart was at, and my heart, you know what, man? Sometimes I still get a smile on my face, man, because it never leaves you.
I get like that too, man. It's like, when, like, especially like people coming out of left field, like trying to speak on this period, not being out there, not knowing what was going on. It's like, man, like, pump your brakes. You don't even know how chaotic and confusing it was. You don't know the amount of directives that were given in. So you got people that chime in, they really got no business speaking on it, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, this topic's mainly on San Jose, man, and this is what was going on. Things changed, though. Things evolved. Different people got out. Different people plugged in. But the early months of Operation Black Widow, this is exactly what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Eventually, that, like I said, that changed. Certain C's got out. Boxer and them got out. And, Smokey and Bubba and all them. You know what I mean? And it changed the whole correlation of things, man. To where it fell in foul with those that were seasoned and competent. But for a minute, it was chaotic, man. But we did the best we could. You know what I'm saying? But it was hard because we were given like 100 directives. So we had to prioritize what was more important. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
where it was coming from, because it could change from day to day.
Yeah.
Week to week, or anytime, or I should say, anytime.
Anyways,
what was next?
This is about to end this recording, man. I'm about to upload this, and I'm gonna premiere this tonight. Everybody have a good one. Hey, gracias, Toko, for tapping in, man, because I know you was out there, because I was trying to locate you out there back then, bro. This was back in hey guys, this was back in 2001, man. It was crazy times. Anyways, I'm gone. Have a good night.